Bonjour mes amis, je m'appelle Michel Béliveau et j'écris par Combat Handguns magazine et Guns of the Old West magazine. And the reason I'm going all beau geste on you today is because we are going to be playing around with this model 1935 French 32 long pistol. This is made by S.A.C.M. And it's got some pretty unique features, so let's take a look at it. This is the 1935A French pistol. It was designed by S.A.C.M. To meet specifications set out by the French government. This is kind of an interesting pistol. As you can see, it's kind of Browning-like. It's actually almost high power, P35-like in the way its grip is assembled. This gun fires the 32 French long cartridge, and this is long obsolete. So in order to put these together, you've got to find somebody making brass. I got these from Buffalo Arms, and it's made, let's see if I can, this is actually made out of 32 Smith & Wesson long revolver brass that then they machined to match the auto pistol dimensions. So this is basically a reloading proposition. I've got to tell you, a lot of the information on this that you'll find is just plain wrong. And in fact, it's very spotty at best, and I'll describe that in just a few minutes. But first we'll just show you some of the features of this gun, because it does have a couple of unique features. So, like I said, it looks very much like a 1911, but it's not. Now it's got 8-round magazine. Whoops, bullet's getting away from me there. And we'll just show you that it's empty. It has a magazine disconnect, so as you can see, I cannot fire it while the magazine is out. Pop that back in. The safety is pretty interesting, and you can see it in operation here. It is a hammer block safety, and when the safety's on, this baby stands straight up, and when you lower that lever, you get rid of the safety. So basically there's no trigger block on this at all. I can drop the hammer and it is hitting squarely on that hammer block, and you can actually see those two little silvery dots right there where the hammer's hitting, and that stops it from contacting the firing pin. But this is a really awkward arrangement. So carrying this cocked and locked, in order to get the safety off, you have to go over the top, bring that down, and then you can fire. Now, that is because the specifications the French government put out for this pistol was for a hammer block type safety. And I'm just going to show you, and some of you have already seen this gun before in another video. This is an Auto Mag 22 Magnum. It also has a hammer block safety, but as you can see, that's actually an ergonomic hammer block safety. Now when the French redesigned this gun to be a 9mm weapon in 1950, they put a safety on that was much more like this. They still wanted a hammer block safety, but it's one that is within the body of the frame. It doesn't extend beyond it, and it goes off with a push. So they did eventually see the light on that, just not right away. So that is one of the unique features of this gun. Also, as you can see, when the hammer's down, it is fully enclosed by the slide. And the sights are integral. You can't move them. You can drift this one. You can also see the finish on this is awful. It kind of looks like a Crossman BB gun I used to have. You know, it's like a heavy coating of paint on here. So another interesting thing about this is that it fires from a locked breech. So I dropped the magazine. I'll put the hammer back to just take a little tension off. You can see there is a little just a little slot right there. I'm going to kind of line that up with the hammer. I'm going to push the pin and pull it out. And now I can remove the entire upper. And it's got a full length recoil guide and spring, and then the barrel. But the interesting thing here is that it's got a linkage. And I'm not going to pull this all the way out because it's a little bit of a pain just to finagle it back in. Not awful, but just a little bit. But basically this gun fires from a locked breech. Just like a 1911 or like a Tokarev. It kind of has features of both of them that it's copying. Let me get this back together here. There we go. Okay. So now we're good. So it fires from a locked breech. Now in contrast, this CZ70 is a 32 ACP gun, and this is barely more powerful than a 32 ACP, but it's firing from this locked breech pistol, whereas this CZ70, pull this back, this is purely a blowback operated gun, right? So you can see it's got a fixed barrel, there's no locking lugs on it. So this is operated strictly by the recoil of the cartridge. But this guy locks up tight. And in my view, that's a pretty strong action. In fact, it's very much like a Tokarev. And Tokarev, of course, used a sub caliber, 30 caliber cartridge, and they beefed it up. So it goes 1600 feet per second. The French did not do that. This is like an 1100 feet per second round, but I actually think that with the right bullet and the right powder, you could probably jazz this up pretty much because this action is extremely strong. It'll take it. Not that I want to play around that way because I'm just happy to get it shooting, but I think they kind of missed a trick. They could have gone with a much more powerful bullet, and then the 32 caliber would not have been a liability. Now, looking at the cartridge itself, well, the 32 French long cartridge is on the left, and for comparison, there's a 32 ACP cartridge on the right. So you can see that the 32 French long is quite a bit longer. Other than that, it's dimensionally very similar to the 32 ACP, and in fact, I use a 32 ACP die set to load it. Though the 32 ACP has a little vestigial rim, so that gives it a little bit better grip in the shell piece when you're reloading. But other than that, you can use 32 ACP dies and 32 ACP bullets even, and it'll work just fine in the French. There's not much information out there on these things. And what information there is just plain wrong. So, like Cartridges of the World tells you that this gun takes a cartridge that uses a 309 inch diameter bullet. And in point of fact, I was believing that, but luckily I slugged the bore. And by slugging the bore, it's pretty easy. I took a round ball and I just pounded it from the breech end right out of the muzzle. And as you can see, it gets the rifling engraved on it, and it gets full bore size, so then I put a set of calipers on there to see what I needed. And as it turns out, the bore on this gun is actually 0.310 inches, not 0.309. And that makes a big difference. So if I was shooting a 309 jacketed slug, it would not be getting into the rifling all the way. So instead, I'm using these cast bullets. These are Meisters. And they weigh 78 grains, and they are nominally 312, but they're really 0.3105 inches by my caliper. But it fills up the rifling, and it gives you a much more harmonious result. Now the original bullet for this gun was an 85 grain full jacketed bullet. So we're shooting these 78 grain cast bullets, and it is having a point of aim impact. I mean, it's got issues, and it's not that easy to fix on this because it's got a fixed rear sight, and I just decided not to play around with it. So I'm going to be holding this thing off, or attempting to, as we go to hit our targets. One last piece of information about these cartridges. Cartridges of the world list the proper overall length for this cartridge as 1.19 inches. And when I actually loaded them that long, I couldn't get the slide to close on them. It actually jammed up because it pushed the bullet all the way into the rifling in the barrel. When I finally got it unlocked, the bullet got pulled right out of the casing because it was so deep in the rifling from being hammered in there. So what I found is 1.04 or 1.05 is actually about the best overall length that I've come across for these things, not the 1.19 that you see in the books. So if you should happen to get one of these pistols, your best bet is to make up some dummies and play around. Even though this brass is expensive, it'll save you a lot of headaches later than believe in the book. Well, Evil Roy is minding his own business back there, but that's not going to save him from us. We've got the French model 1935A, and we're going to see if we can light them up. Now, I've not been really happy with the accuracy of this thing. I've been working up some loads for it, but I can't say that I'm totally pleased with it. So, I'd be kind of happy if we just hit this guy. Well, could be worse. Well, I don't know how loud this muzzle blast from the 1935A comes across on the camera, but it's banging over here. I've got this loaded up with 3.5 grains of bullseye under that 77 grain bullet, and it's cooking out of here pretty good. I haven't chronographed it yet, but there's no doubt that it's cracking. So let's see if I got the skills to put the Frenchie on the target with one hand. Well, I guess it could do the job. Well, one of the features on the French 1935 is a loaded chamber indicator, and it's kind of hard to see right here because it's down. So we've got an empty chamber, but let's jack a shell in, put the safety on, and now you can see it's standing up, and it doesn't do a bad job. Well, my reloading efforts have failed to turn the 1935 French pistol into a precision shooting machine. I've got to do some more work on that. So we're not going to be hitting any hard targets. In fact, I'm not even sure I can hit the easy targets with this, but we've got a 2-liter bottle and it's about 12 yards down range, and let's see if I can hit it. Bon bon bon, as my Pepe would have said. We got it. Well, kind of curious to see if that first hit was just a fluke. So I've got another 2-liter bottle set up. We got the 1935 French. Let's see. Now, I'm actually aiming pretty high and way right in order to hit it. So we'll see if my Kentucky windage, or in this case, maybe it should be Marseille windage. We'll see. Well, I caught him, but I'm not going to do the happy dance over that one. Well, despite my poor shooting, I'm going to take a crack at a 1-liter bottle with the 35 French here. And that's as much of a challenge as I'm going to give myself today. If I hit that thing, I'm done. If I don't hit it, I'm done. No clay birds, no 8 ounces. I just don't believe I can hit them. Alright, just when you think you really stink, you make a good shot. Go figure. Okay, I was aiming pretty high, and I still popped this boy pretty low. So, I think I'm done for the day. As my French ancestors would have said, fini. We'll finish off with the bad guy's view.